This program is rated PG. It contains themes and scenes which may not be suitable for very young audiences. Parental guidance is advised.
We're working to connect a region of over 600 cultural bridges between our lands.
Welcome to ASEAN in Focus. I'm Alma Angeles. We're coming to you live from Manila and Vietnam. Hello, Eliana.
Hello, Alma. Good afternoon. I'm Eliana Sebastian from EBC Vietnam Bureau, giving you the news in the ASEAN region.
On today's headlines. Deposed Myanmar leader Aung San Suu Kyi appears for the first time in court since being detained in a coup, vowing her ousted political party would live on.
Aksyon po sa napaulat na may nagbebenta ng bakuna.
Spokesperson Secretary Harry Roque insisted that vaccines with EUA cannot be sold to the public because they are not yet for commercial use.
Thailand's Health and Transport Ministry opened a new vaccination site at Bang Sue train station, Bangkok's new railway hub, aiming to inoculate 10,000 people per day with the Sinovac and AstraZeneca vaccines.
Pag-asa announced that Filipinos will be able to witness a total lunar eclipse or supermoon on May 26.
First to Myanmar, where the deposed leader Aung San Suu Kyi appears for the first time in court since being detained in a coup, vowing her ousted political party would live on. The photo showing her sitting in court was broadcasted on state television channel MRTV during the evening news program. Aung San Suu Kyi voiced defiance on Monday as she made her first court appearance since the military detained her in a coup, vowing that her political party would live on. She has been hit with a string of criminal charges, including flouting coronavirus restrictions during last year's election campaign and possessing unlicensed walkie-talkies. There have been weeks of delays to Suu Kyi's legal case, and her lawyers have struggled to gain access to her. The next hearing was set for June 7, her lawyer Min Min So said, adding that she had also met Win Myint, who was ousted and detained along with Ms. Suu Kyi.
Junta leader Min Aung Hlaing gave a 2-hour interview to Hong Kong's Phoenix Television last week, with the full program yet to air, though portions have been released. Asked about Suu Kyi's political achievements, the military leader said, in short, she has done everything she can. The military announced a 1-year state of emergency after it seized power, saying that would be followed by fresh multi-party elections. A group of ousted lawmakers, many of them previously part of the NLD, have formed a shadow national unity government in an attempt to undermine the junta. The junta has classified them as terrorists. In a separate interview excerpt, Min Aung Hlaing disputed the death toll from the protests and said he was not ready to adopt a consensus brokered last month by the Association of Southeast Asian Nations to halt the violence. The continuing bloodshed has pushed some in the anti-junta movement to form a so-called People's Defense Force, or PDF, in their townships, made up of civilians who fight back against security forces with homemade weapons.
Here in the country, presidential spokesperson Secretary Harry Roque insisted that vaccines with EUA cannot be sold to the public because they're not yet for commercial use. The secretary also warned that anyone who sells vaccination slots or the vaccine itself against COVID-19 could be punished and imprisoned in accordance with the FDA Act of 2009. Take a look.
Action po sa napaulat na may nagbebenta ng bakuna o pag-aalok ng slot sa COVID-19 vaccination program sa halagang 15,000 o depende pa po sa brand. Ano ang gagawing hakbang ng gobyerno sa bagay na ito? Ganito rin po ang tanong ni Ivan Mayrina ng GMA News.
Well, yan po ay pinagbabawal. Wala pong bakuna na binebenta dahil wala pa pong bakuna na binigyan ng commercial use. Kaya po hindi dapat ibenta ang mga bakuna, lahat po yan ay nasa emergency use pa lamang. Hindi pa po tapos yan sa 4th clinical trial. So kapag kayo po ay nahuli na nagbebenta ng bakuna na wala pang commercial use, po pwede po kayong makulong sang-ayon po sa bataas na nagbuo ng ng Food and Drug Authority sa Pilipinas. Kasi meron po yan tinatawag na penal clause, no? At yung naman ng mga nagbebenta ng slot, yan po ipinagbabawal din natin, no? At pwede po tayo rin ma-prosecute para po dun sa paglilinlang na krimen, no? Kasi wala naman pong karapatan ng kahit sino na magbenta ng kanilang slot.
Yesterday, the city government of Manila has banned the sale of COVID-19 vaccines, even by companies, institutions, or organizations for gain or profit. Manila Mayor Francisco Isko Moreno Dumagoso, in a press briefing, said he signed Ordinance Number 8740 in order to protect the general public from those who intend to profit from the pandemic.
Pero kanina po, pinirmahan ko na po yung bagong batas. May bagong batas na po sa Maynila. Sa Maynila, bawal magbenta ng bakuna, bawal kumita sa bakuna. Itong bagong batas na inaprobahan ng Konseho ng Maynila sa liderato ni Vice Mayor Hani Lacuna at sa pamumuno ni Majority Floor Leader Joel Chua at authored by Councilor Jong Isip at 10 ng lahat ng miyembro ng Konseho ng Maynila. May bagong batas po sa Maynila. Bawal po ang magbenta ng bakuna. Bawal maningil ng anumang uring tatawagin para magbayad sa bakunan. Ayan yung mga, for example, yung, ito po sa Maynila, no? For example, yung mga miscellaneous fee o administrative fee. O, pinagbabawal po yan sa Maynila. Pag sa Maynila nyo po ginawa yun, kayo maaari ma-penalize ng 5,000 piso at pagkakakulong ng 6 na buwan. Opo. As I have promised you last week, na talagang ikukulong namin kayo. Ayun po ay mangyayari na sa bagong batas na naaprobahan ng Konseho ng Maynila ngayong araw na ito.
So again, violators shall be penalized 5,000 pesos and imprisoned for not more than 6 months. For corporations or other juridical entities, the directors, officers, employees, or other officers responsible for the violation shall be charged and penalized. Moreover, business licenses shall be revoked and they will be banned from doing businesses in the capital city.
Meanwhile, no one in the San Juan City government is involved in the alleged selling of coronavirus jab and vaccine slots. This, according to Mayor Francis Zamora in an interview with the Balitalakayan program yesterday. The city has an ongoing probe on the alleged sale of vaccines and priority slots at the moment. Take a look.
Hindi hugat. Una-una, definitely hindi po totoo yan. At I assure everyone na ang lahat ho ng bakuna dito sa San Juan, una-una, libre ho yan. At para siyempre sa ating mga priority citizens base sa prioritization list ng Department of Health. Kung kaya't nung Biyernes din mismo, inatasan ko ang aking mga tauhan na imbestigahan na ho ito. No? So nung Friday pa lang mismo ay nakontak na namin yung binebentahan. At base dun sa impormasyon na binigay ng binebentahan, ay online niya raw nakita or within social media lang din na meron daw mga vaccines for sale. So nag-inquire siya rito. In fact, alam ko nakapag-usap din sila through Zoom, pero iba raw yung humarap sa kanya, hindi yung mismong kausap niya. At pagkatapos ng kanilang mga usapan ay medyo nag-alangan siya kasi nga it really sounds alanganin, kumbaga. Kaya base rin sa sinabi na sa akin, nagsisi nga siya na hindi niya na i-record yung Zoom conversation nila. Yes, but maliwanag ho na ito isang scam. Mga tao online na nagpapanggap na kaya nilang mag-provide ng vaccines for a fee. At definitely wala hong ganyan dito sa San Juan. In fact, agad-agad kong kinausap din ang aking city health officer. And I'm very confident about our people here in San Juan na wala hong nangyayaring ganyan. Hindi ho ganong kadali makapasok sa aming Phil Oil Flying V Center o ang aming vaccination facility sapagkat kinakailangan meron kang confirmatory text para makapasok. No? Hindi yan walk-in. Talagang may online reservation ho tayo, may online registration. At yung mga nasa priority list lamang na na-text sa araw na yun ang makakapasok.
Now, Mayor Zamora reiterated that the vaccine shot in San Juan is free for all residents and non-residents who are working in the city. On Friday, the conversation between a supposed buyer and seller of COVID jabs and vaccine slots in Mandaluyong and San Juan was shared on social media. Zamora then immediately warned the public against scammers who may try to sell just jabs. He said the scammers are taking advantage of the public health crisis to make a profit. The mayor has already coordinated with the Philippine National Police, the Department of Interior and Local Government, and the Department of Health.
More than 200 passengers were injured in the Malaysian capital, Kuala Lumpur, on Monday when two metro trains collided in a tunnel. Let's hear more from Alfred Balmes. Hello, Alfred.
Hi, Eliana. Good afternoon. This is indeed an unfortunate event at this time of the pandemic. At around 8:30 p.m. last night, work commuters were on their back home from work. Two automated and driverless LRT trains from Kilana Jaya Line have collided. One carrying passengers and the other is an empty train on a test run. The accident happened at an underground section near the KLCC station. As reported in local news here, Dangwangi OCPD Assistant Commander Muhammad Sainal Abdullah said 47 commuters suffered severe injuries while 166 others had minor injuries, but no deaths had been reported. All injured had been sent to Hospital Kuala Lumpur for treatment. The service provider, Rapid KL, said on its official Twitter account, issued a public apology and announced that emergency and rescue services are underway. Passengers were requested to stay calm and follow instruction. Passengers have started sharing on social media several videos and photos of the incident right after the collision happened. As reported, the Kilana Jaya Line is the first fully automated metro line in Malaysia when it was opened in 1998. It also considered the busiest metro line in Malaysia with 37 stations transporting nearly 300,000 passengers on an average working day before the COVID-19 outbreak. Back to you, Eliana.
Thank you, Alfred, for your updates there from Malaysia. You stay safe and stay healthy.
Likewise, live reporting from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. This is Alfred Balmes. We live in interesting times.
Now, the island nation of Maldives has announced new restriction to battle its worst surge in virus cases. Joining us live, here's Steffi Dewan. Hello, Steffi.
Hello, Alma. Good afternoon. Yes, Maldives has announced new restrictions as it battles its worst surge in COVID-19 cases, including expanding curfew hours in the capital and making permits compulsory to go out even during non-curfew hours. In a press conference by Health Emergency Operations Center, President's spokesperson Mabruk Aziz said new restrictions will take effect tomorrow, May 26, and according to him, people will require permits issued by the police to go out even during non-curfew hours. Each household will be issued two residential permits. One can be used to go out between 8 to 12 in the morning, while the other one can be used to go out between 12 to 4 in the afternoon. Each household will be issued only two residential permits to go out. Mabruk also said that the permits are solely to access essential services only and cannot be used for travel between Malaya City and suburban Hulhumale unless under exceptional circumstances. Meanwhile, cafes and restaurants are banned from providing dine-in and takeaway services and can only open for delivery services. Businesses can be allowed to provide delivery services from 6 to 12 midnight. Mabruk also said that shopping during curfew hours and obtaining takeaway services during curfew hours will be punishable with an amount of 5,000 Maldivian rupiah fine or $320. Maldives has now experiencing a surge in both infection rate and fatalities in recent weeks. This month of May has seen the highest number of COVID-19 fatalities in Maldives with 62 deaths. Meanwhile, the parliament also switched on to online sittings starting from tomorrow onwards. And this is due to increase of COVID-19 cases in the Maldives and most importantly to adhere to Health Protection Agency guidelines. According to Parliament Communication Director Hassan Siyaw, the arrangement to hold online sittings were now being made. The Parliament held online sittings from March 30 to May before switching back to physical sittings. The physical sittings were started in accordance with the new normal situation whereby strict preventive measures and safety steps were enforced in the Parliament. The measures were later on relaxed before the current move on online sittings. Maldives has now 55,924 confirmed cases, including 1,559 new cases recorded on Sunday. 32,322 patients have been recovered, while 135 have died from complications. The country currently has 23,464 active cases, while 290 of the patients are hospitalized. And that's my quick update from Maldives. Back to you, Alma.
Thank you very much, Steffi, for your updates there. And we'll wait for more developments on the pandemic situation around the world as well as in your island nation. Thank you very much. Stay safe.
Thank you so much, Alma. Same to you. Stay safe. Reporting live from Maldives, this is Steffi Dihuan, and we live in interesting times.
All right, we'll go for a short break. We'll be right back.
Humanda na kayo dahil this is gonna be an exciting battle para sa ating monthly finalists. This is Tagisan ng Galing Part 2 Singing Edition.
This program is supported by China Bank. Your success is our business.
Events happen around us all the time, in our community, in our country, around the world. Events that affect people, move communities, or simply inspire us. Interesting events that people need to know. In these interesting times, we continue to be a competent partner in delivering news about these events. Fast, accurate, balanced. Eagle News, because we live in interesting times.
Broadcast journalist Wayne De La Fuente returns on Philippine television and radio to deliver top stories and engage with the country's policymakers, shapers, and movers. Tatalakayin ang mga pangunahing balita alas 7 ng umaga mula Lunes hanggang Biyernes, live sa teleradyo ng Net25 at Radyo Aguila DCEC 1062. Kasama si Wayne De La Fuente sa Balitalakayan.
Welcome back to ASEAN in Focus. WHO Country Representative Rabindra Abesing and Dr. Edsel Salvana, member of the DOH Technical Advisory Group, talk about AstraZeneca and reported blood clot link. There has been a link established between the AstraZeneca vaccine and a very rare but serious side effect called thrombosis in combination with thrombocytopenia. However, they say there is a very low chance of this side effect.
The incidence of thrombosis and thrombocytopenia following AstraZeneca vaccines is a new phenomenon which we are studying at this point of time. We need to recognize that there are weaker systems in developing and low and middle-income countries for monitoring of persons receiving vaccines. Having said that, we also recognize that many of those complications were seen among recipients of vaccines manufactured at different plants of AstraZeneca, not AstraZeneca vaccine being distributed in Asia. So we are trying to understand whether this was something that was related to where the vaccine was manufactured or whether it's related to ethnicity. But as I mentioned, this is a new problem. It's just a couple of months. It takes time to analyze the data. It takes time to understand the circumstances that led to this. We've seen this not only with AstraZeneca vaccines, we've also seen reports of this following the Janssen vaccine. So we want to reassure the people that WHO, with its research institutions and partner academic institutions, are looking very closely at the data. We are working hand in hand with the national regulatory authorities in the countries that have reported such cases, and we are working with the Food and Drug Administration, for example, in the Philippines, to strengthen the monitoring to see whether such cases are occurring in the Philippines. So this is the way WHO is working around this problem, and as soon as we have clearer evidence, we will be happy to share them with the population. Right now, it's still an ongoing process. There is a lot of work happening. But we don't have clear positions or evidence linking and understanding the pathogenic mechanism of how this happens.
There is yung incidence sobrang baba, no? It's about 10 out of a million is what they're seeing in terms of these blood clots. And so far, yung NAFIC natin, yung adverse events body natin for vaccines, are monitoring the patients who have gotten Astra and also all the other vaccines. Kasama naman po talaga ito sa ating pagbabantay sa pagbigay ng bakuna. But just to put it in perspective, diba, this is anywhere from 4 to 10 out of 1 million. If you get COVID, your risk of clot is 1 out of 3. So this is such a huge difference in terms of risk versus benefit that most countries that suspended their Astra have actually restarted giving it, including us, because the risk is much, much smaller compared to the benefit of these vaccines.
In the same briefing, a health expert talks about why it's recommended that we wear a face shield, a face mask, in addition to social distancing. Again, let's listen in.
So there's actually one paper from the Journal of the American Medical Association which specifically studied yung face shields sa healthcare workers in India before and after nagmask sila. When they did not use face shields, about 50 of them out of several hundred, I think, na community healthcare workers got COVID. When they started using the face shields, nobody got COVID. So that's the prospective data that supports face shield use. Now, there's also a paper from the Lancet Infectious Diseases na nagpapakita na ang effect ng mask is about, it decreases your risk by about 85%, especially if you're wearing yung mga surgical and medical grade masks. And then for, hindi naman yung sinabing face shield, but eye protection. Kasama na yung face shield dyan, it's about 78%. And yung physical distancing, at least 1 meter, is about 80%. And if we put all these together, it is more than 90%. And Dr. Dance and a lot of the other evidence-based medicine groups have looked at these studies, and they think that actually yung effect is above 90%, above 95% pa nga, if we use all these correctly and consistently. Yun po yung pinaka-importante doon sa point na yon. It needs to be consistent kasi it only takes 1 lapse for the virus to get in.
To other news now, the Business Process Outsourcing or BPO industry signed a memorandum of agreement with the Quezon City government to inoculate 67,000 BPO workers working in 29 firms in the city. The MOA was signed by the representatives of the IT and Business Process Association of the Philippines or IBPAP, Contact Center Association of the Philippines or CCAP, the Healthcare Information Management Association of the Philippines, and Quezon City Mayor Joy Belmonte. According to a report from the Business Mirror, the collaboration runs in parallel with the IT BPM industry's participation in several tripartite agreements to procure over 1 million doses of AstraZeneca, Moderna, and Novavax. IBPAP said these vaccines are going to arrive towards the latter part of the second quarter and continue throughout the second half of the year. Port Ministry opened a new vaccination site at Bangsu train station, Bangkok's new railway hub, aiming to inoculate 10,000 people per day with the Sinovac and AstraZeneca vaccines. Take a look.
ถ้าติดหน้ารถมันก็คือถ้าเขาเห็นมันเขาก็น่าจะมั่นใจในการบริการของเรามากขึ้นก็ปลอดภัยเกี่ยวกับโรคเชื้อโรคตัวนี้ก็แล้วแต่ครับว่าที่เขาไม่ยี่ห้ออะไรฉีดเขาจัดให้เรายี่ห้ออะไรเราต้องฉีด
The main target group are the nearly 200,000 transport workers out of the capital's 10 million population. The Public Health Ministry reported on Tuesday morning that there were 26 new COVID fatalities and 3,226 new cases over the past 24 hours. The new infections comprise 2,344 among general people and 882 in prisons. Thailand is also vaccinating its prisoners after mass outbreaks. Nearly half of the 37,000 inmates tested positive for the coronavirus yesterday. The country's prisons are some of the most overcrowded in the world.
Meanwhile, health experts in the country said the country has not yet recorded any case of a COVID-19 patient afflicted with black fungus or mucormycosis, the rare and potentially deadly infection that has reportedly hit thousands in India. Let's watch this.
The black fungus is what we call mucor, and this is found in the environment actually. But it only happens in people where their immune systems are very, very bad. There's one term for this, scedosporum, and then they keep changing the names of these molds. They're very, very difficult to treat. I've treated maybe 2 or 3 when I was training in the United States. In the Philippines, thank God, wala pa naman ako nakikita. But we have the means to culture these and detect these. And so far, we have not seen it in our COVID patients.
A relatively high number of cases being reported from India is possibly also linked with the immunocompromised status because of relatively large-scale use of steroids in India. This is something we don't see in the Philippines, and we are glad that, as Dr. Salvana said, we are not seeing these cases here in the Philippines.
Hanoi starts shutting down all food and beverage establishments, as well as hair salons and beauty parlors from 12 o'clock on May 25, so as to contain the spread of the coronavirus SARS-CoV-2, which causes COVID-19. A dispatch issued by Chairman of the Municipal People's Committee, Tung Ngoc An, says food and beverage facilities can only allow takeaways, and residents must absolutely stop entertainment activities, physical exercises, and large gatherings in parks, gardens, and public locations. People returning to Hanoi from other localities starting May 25 must submit medical declarations within 24 hours. Those who return to the city between May 10 and May 24 should also do so until the end of May 25. Vingroup, TNT Group, and other businesses are requested to test employees and residents living on their premises for COVID-19. The latest decision follows the formation of several COVID-19 clusters associated with either the TNT company or buildings in Times City, which is owned by Vingroup. The Municipal Health Department was requested to direct public and non-public medical facilities to continue tightening pandemic prevention and control and ensure absolute safety at hospitals and health clinics. The Ministry of Health confirmed 33 new community infection cases of COVID-19 on Monday noon, raising the national patient tally to 5,308.
A petition to recall California Governor Gavin Newsom has been adopted. Let's hear from reactions from the fellow PhilAm leader, Attorney Francis Prizia, on how the Filipino-American Democratic Caucus received the news. Also her reaction on the appointment of Assembly member Rob Bonta, another fellow PhilAm, as the very first historic Attorney General of California. Don Orozco with this report.
California governor is facing a recall election, which will be set pretty soon. And we just wanted to ask the opinion of several of our Filipino-American leaders. We have with us Attorney Francis Prisia, who is actually a practicing lawyer here in the state of California, particularly in the Los Angeles area. Attorney Prisia?
Hello,
Hi.
Thank you so much for having me.
So what's your take with regards to what is happening to the recall of Governor Gavin Newsom, and what have you been doing so far, especially you being a part of the Filipino-American Democratic Caucus Group?
So I do believe, and the Filipino-American Democratic Caucus of California also supports this belief, that the recall is a very bad idea for Californians. Governor Newsom has done the best that he can given the circumstances at hand. He has balanced and gently stepped in to balance the interest of both small business owners and also our health and livelihood. He's had to make sure to protect the health and of Californians against the pandemic and ensure that we are safe, while trying to also protect the economy of California, which is one of the largest in the nation. So he's done the best that he can and is continuing to do a really great job. And we are absolutely against the recall. We believe that it is going to harm California more than it will help California, especially since we are still within the midst of the pandemic.
I believe there is a forum wherein it is being formed that is being actually being led by our newly installed Attorney General of California in the presence of former Assembly Member Rob Bonta. What is your take with regards to having Attorney Rob Bonta appointed as Attorney General by Governor Gavin Newsom?
I do believe that it is historic. It is the first time that a Filipino American is an Attorney General, has been appointed as Attorney General. It shows how much Governor Newsom appreciates the Filipino American people and sees us as leaders of California and sees us as credible individuals who can create great things and move forward and to help California move forward. Appointing Attorney General Rob Bonta was not only historic, but a great move given what we've been experiencing in the country with the unrest, with the anti-Asian hate, with the Asian hate crimes that's been on the rise, with the unrest that's been happening, as well as the pandemic and the economic loss that California has been facing. And there is an event coming up on May 24th that features Attorney General Rob Bonta, and he will be speaking out about the recall and how we are denouncing the recall and are against the recall.
Okay. We will make sure that we will be a part of that so that we can also share that to the Filipino community. There you have it. Thank you, Attorney Frances Prisha. She is actually one of the officers of the Filipino American Democratic Caucus. Reporting live here in Silicon Valley, this is Don Orozco for Eagle News, and we live in interesting times.
ASEAN in Focus.
Go ahead.
ASEAN in Focus will be back after a short break.
Factual.
We have to defeat the virus everywhere.
Timely information. Balanced. Not only in the country, but also abroad.
I'm certain of one thing.
Interviews that people need to know. Watch Aguila Pilipinas. A 1-hour newscast of reports coming from regional hubs in Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. Know the important updates in Asia in ASEAN in Focus. Track the latest stories in the provinces in Aguila Provincia. Tune into Mata ng Agila, the evening primetime news program of Net25. Balanced and objective, Mata ng Agila covers national and international issues, tackles news on business, health, science and technology, entertainment, sports and human interest features, and current events. And Eagle News International delivers the latest global reports, impartial, accessible, and up-to-date. It brings to fore EBC's rich international scope and access to valuable information streams.
Well, thank you to the Saints, our help outdoor.
Catch these programs on Net25. You can also watch our news programs through eaglenews.ph and Eagle News Facebook page and YouTube channel.
Back here in the country, the Bureau of Customs, Port of Ninoy Aquino International Airport, or BOC NAIA, on Monday reported the apprehension of a total of 2,032 pieces of live ornamental plants in Pasay City. Take a look. In a statement, the Port of Naiya District Collector Carmelita Talusan said the plants were seized on May 19 for misdeclaration and failure to secure the required plant quarantine permit prior to their importation into the country. She added that only 100 pieces of live ornamental plants were reported to have arrived at the Pear Cargo Warehouse. However, physical examination yielded various ornamental plants, including alocasia, Aglaonema, pothos, calathea, philodendron, crimson monstera, cactus, sansevieria, and rubber plant. The plants were seized in violation of Section 1113 in relation to Section 1400, which is the misdeclaration of the Customs Modernization and Tariff Act, and for the lack of a plant quarantine permit from the Bureau of Plant Industry. The BOAC, Naiya, reminded the public to secure a sanitary and phytosanitary import clearance from the BPI before importing any kind of plant into the country.
San Miguel Corporation, or SMC, through SMC Infrastructure, opened Monday the southbound Quirino exit of the Skyway Stage 3 elevated expressway to Class 1 vehicles, allowing motorists coming from Balintawak and Quezon Avenue to directly reach Manila within less than 20 minutes from 1.5 hours without traffic. The opening was led by Department of Public Works and Highways, or DPWH, Secretary Mark Villar and SMC President Ramon S. Ang. Ang said the opening of the Quirino southbound exit will greatly improve accessibility from Quezon City and Manila. The Skyway Stage 3, formally opened in January 2021, connects Buendia to Balintawak and vice versa. Together with Skyway 1 and 2, the Skyway system is a 38-kilometer elevated expressway with 36 on and off ramp access points that greatly improves accessibility, transportation, and traffic conditions throughout Metro Manila.
In other news, Taiwan Xu Weiling birdied the final hole Saturday to cap a 6-under par 65 and joined Thailand's Moria Jutanagarn atop the leaderboard at the LPGA Pure Silk Championship. First round leader Xu had roared back up the leaderboard with 5 straight birdies. On the front line at Kings Mill Resort in Williamsburg, Virginia, she finished with 8 birdies and 2 bogeys on the day for a 10-under par total of 203. Thailand's Moria, meanwhile, eagled the par 5 7th and added 5 birdies in her 6-under 65. The two were 1 stroke in front of American Jessica Korda, who grabbed solo second on 9-under 204 with 7th birdie of the day at the 18th that gave her a 4-under 67. Xu's 26 and ranked 108th in the world is chasing a first U.S. LPGA 4 title. The 26-year-old Moria is aiming to add another trophy to her 2018 Los Angeles Open crown. Korda is in search of a 7th title, having nabbed her 6th at the Tournament of Champions this year.
From chicken satay to imitation beef rendang, a high-tech Singapore laboratory is replicating popular Asian dishes with plant-based meat alternatives to feed the region's growing appetite for sustainable food. Let's take a look.
Meanwhile, Pag-asa announced that Filipinos will be able to witness a total lunar eclipse or supermoon on May 26. Now, the event is also called Super Blood Moon because the moon will appear bigger and brighter than a regular full moon. For several minutes, the moon will move into the Earth's shadow, creating a total eclipse. The eclipse will then begin at 4:47 p.m. and will end at 9:49 p.m. In Manila, Pag-asa said the moon will rise at 6:14 p.m. on May 26 and will set at 4:49 a.m. on May 27. During a lunar eclipse, the moon appears red because the light of the sun no longer directly illuminates it, since Earth is passing in between the moon and the sun. The color is due to Rayleigh scattering, where the sun's blue light is scattered off molecules in Earth's atmosphere, which also happens at sunsets. That was explained by the Royal Astronomical Society of Britain. The sun's red light is scattered much less by air and is sent by Earth's atmosphere in a process called refraction, traveling all the way through it to light up the moon's surface. Thank you for keeping me company. I'll be watching out for the moon tomorrow night.
That's a really good news, Ama. And that's the latest news in the Southeast Asian nations. Stay updated about the ASEAN region. I'm Oyana Faith Sebastian from EBC Vietnam Bureau, and we live in interesting times.
I'm Alma Angeles. We'll see you back tomorrow. We live in interesting times.
This program is supported by Security Bank.
Innovation, digital disruption, globalization. Startups, micro, small, and medium enterprises